long ago in a galaxy far, far away. What's good, squad? Welcome to another edition of Phuca-Pod, a Phucaname product. Find us all across the web at Phucaname, Phucaname. Check out our other episodes on our podcast. Follow us and rate us 5 stars so we can continue to bring these squad vibes to you. Here with a usual squad spec and another usual squad spec in a different light. Introduce yourselves where people can find you if you want to be found in some webs.
Yo, what's goody, y'all? Thank y'all for listening to another episode. Y'all listen to the voice of Wavy God over here. WAVII GAWD_WD_ on Instagram and WAVII_GWD on X and Twitter. You already know the sneaker lover, anime watcher, video game player, man. You already know, of course, the biggest Star Wars fan in the world. You know, of course, rate us 5 stars, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, you know, like the video when it's up on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, you know what I mean? You know, always trying to make $1, trying to get rich, but these hobbies I like, they make me poor, man. So, y'all make sure to like and subscribe so we can get this money.
And without further ado,
Lord Vader, we've dropped out of the... This isn't the... Oh, I'm sorry. This is the one true noob from Phucaname. Also
goody?
trying to... sorry, I thought I was doing a transmission. Hello. Just got back from Star Wars Celebration, and I'm itching to tell you guys about it. As you can see, I'm dressed as an Imperial officer. So, yeah. Well, I'm thankful to be here.
as usual, bro. And of course, follow me across the web, Frosty Phoenix, FROSTYPHENIX. Google me. Without further
Google me,
ado,
baby.
Google it. Without further ado, the Star Wars Celebration. One True Noob came back from Japan, from the official celebration. True fandom right here. I'm
True
in awe.
fandom, that's what's up, man.
I'm in awe. One True Noob, tell us about it.
Well, this is my 4th celebration.
Hey.
I started going in 2017 in Orlando. From there, I've been to Chicago, been to Anaheim. I've missed London.
But it was in Orlando?
It was in Orlando back in 2017.
God.
And,
Where'd you at, Wavy? Fraud.
And now I just got back from 2025 in Tokyo, Japan. Frosty, it was a blast. Just so many Star Wars fans getting together, regardless of if you love the prequels, the originals, or the sequels. From 5 years old to 105, so many fans descending onto the land of the rising sun to just celebrate all things Star Wars and learn about whatever Lucasfilm is coming up with next in a galaxy far, far away. It was 3 days this time, which is usually shorter than they usually do it, but it was still crammed full of just knowledge and cosplayers and actors, actresses, announcements, panels, you name it, it was there. My wallet couldn't handle it, but my discipline did.
You wanted to buy everything inside, didn't you? You're like, damn.
There were so many things, Wavy, that I wanted to buy, but my wallet is my greatest limiter.
Listen,
man, that's a bar right there. God damn.
shout out to you not accessing the other word, the dreaded 2-word thing that people believe is limitless, the credit card.
Oh, trust me. Credits are... Oh, man. I don't need credits. I need something more real.
That's what's up.
Bars.
So, was it maybe a top highlight, like something that sticks out in your mind of that whole trip?
I got a couple.
What do you got to walk away with?
Can I give you 2, actually?
Yes.
I would have to say 4 panels. I really enjoyed Sunday's panel on Star Wars Visions. Star Wars Visions is probably one of the best things that Lucasfilm has come out with
in a while.
If anybody on this pod does not know what it is basically Lucasfilm giving a license to any other animation studio out there to make their own disjointed from the canon Star Wars story. So whether they want to make a Star Wars story that deals with a coming to life of a robot that becomes a Jedi, or if they want to make something that deals with how droids feel on the inside, any of that can be done through this project. And most of those episodes, they usually have about 8 to 10 of them that are about no longer than 15 to 16 minutes.
Yeah.
I highly recommend everybody to check those out if they can.
Visions is
There's
on
2
Disney
seasons
Plus.
right now.
The first season to me was a better one. That's me personally. But I mean, second one was good too. But the first season to me takes a kick. Like there was so many episodes that like were just fire in the first season. Like I was so hyped because like just seeing like in the anime style, and then the one, especially the one by Trigger.
Yeah,
The Trigger one
just
was
talking about
pure
that, weren't
anime. That
Yeah, pure anime.
that was pure anime. And of course, how could you not expect Studio Trigger to not just go balls to the wall?
Yeah, right.
So I've got good news on that, but I will share that in my summary.
Okay.
So
That has to do with Trigger.
Go ahead.
Okay, my fault. You can go ahead first. My fault. I just wanted to confirm that I had to do something with Trigger.
He's like, Wavy's like, so
Had to
what's up?
confirm, yo.
So that was your number one. What was the 2? Was it? It was just the panels.
Oh yes, the second one. So I actually, on the first day, Friday, I got to sit within the panel that was talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which comes out next year, 2026. And the people that I sat next to just happened to be people from Lucasfilm. I sat next to one of the people on the story group, which is the central think tank, if you will, within Lucasfilm that generates and keeps the lore of the story.
Interesting.
That guy is actually coming out with a book. His name is Phil Sostek. He is coming out with an art book on the artwork of Andor Season 1 and Season 2.
Nice. Because Andor Season 2 is definitely out right now. I haven't watched all 3 episodes yet. I only watched the first one so far. But I'm going to watch the next 2 like probably tonight or tomorrow, whichever one.
On hold for me as well.
Because Andor Season 1 was like, I know you put this in the chat already, and I'm just going to say it, and I hope everybody that's watching or listening to this agrees with this. If you don't, then fine, whatever. Andor is probably one of the best things Star Wars has put out in a long time. Like,
I would highly agree.
I want to say probably the best thing they put out since, like, film-wise, maybe since Rogue One. Probably the best thing since Rogue One, probably.
Frosty, you got that look in your eye. What you got? Which
Y'all know I don't agree entirely. I'm not a fan of the pacing of the story around Andor, the character himself, and the central point of the show. There's one thing when you have an expectation for the character, especially for a prequel series to a prequel movie to the original trilogy, which is the story of how we got to where we got to in New Hope, and to see that character differently from how they ended up in Rogue One, to me, it was a little bit a feeling of like almost like don't meet your heroes, right? Because he just seemed, and everybody's inherently like this. The humans are selfish. Humans think about number one, and the overall drama around him and how he was conducting his life almost seemed like it didn't pan out, at least for me, that he was going to turn around and be who he becomes in Rogue One. I think which might be the point of it, especially with Season 2 out now. Maybe I'll get more context, but Season 1, Andor was definitely someone that I found underwhelming, if you will.
I mean, there are other characters like that in Star Wars too. Han Solo. So, like...
Han Solo... I guess I didn't have any expectation because there was no... I saw him through his growth, right? And the only place you really see him is in the original trilogy, right? And then in the sequel, but you can talk about the sequels anyway. But that's shaped
and
around
his own
Harrison.
movie, but yeah.
Huh?
And his own movie, but yeah.
I don't even hold him to that. If anything, it almost sounds like it's like comparing what they do. Han Solo was definitely an accessory to the original trilogy. He was key in Empire Strikes Back, but again, he dropped the ball a couple of different ways. Like,
and Luke didn't?
Luke was also going through a whole growth period as well. It's like the first movie. The first movie.
I'm trying to dig to see where you're getting to.
Luke in the first movie was definitely like, I'm just living on this farm, but I kind of want to do more. And then of course he was foolish in the second movie where he was like, all right, I think I'm good enough, and I'm gonna go save my friends. Yoda's like, all right, bro, do your thing. And then the third, him coming back with just a redemption and saving his friends and Return of the Jedi. I think just that culminated it for me. When you come to a point, I think that's the point of it.
I was going to say, and Han didn't have that too, with being a selfish pirate in the first one, and the second one he's trying to lead the whole rebellion, and then they kept roping him back in. And then the third one he becomes a general.
Basically.
Count me in.
Reluctantly.
Oh no. Oh, that third one, no, he was in. He was definitely in after they got him out of Carbonite.
Well, yeah.
All I'm saying, Frosty, is that yes, you are correct. Andor in the first season was definitely a very selfish, sly kind of talking out of both ends, making multiple deals. But honestly, in a galaxy far, far away, with the type of luck you have, you kind of have to do that sometimes.
Yeah,
to do that to survive. Even in the beginning of Rogue One, you saw how he just shot that dude out of cold blood.
Yep.
Because he was panicking.
But that was. I might have to see Rogue One again, because I remember him a little differently than how he presented in the show. So that may be me. Just especially the decisions he made towards the end of Rogue One, right, and what they end up having to do. For spoiler, for people that haven't seen Rogue One, you should. But
you definitely should.
You said it yourself. Humanity is multifaceted. Even you may not know what you do in a situation like that. It's very easy for us to say, "Oh, we'll be super altruistic or whatnot," but when the rubber meets the road, you don't know how actually you're going to act. And when the rubber met the road, Cassian was ready to sacrifice himself. But he may not always make that choice. Speaking of choices, so the way they did their panels this time, I went with a group of 4.
Okay.
And I was not able to get the actual show floors each time, but I was able to find out information within each of the panels. So here's a very quick summary of the things that I went to that I was able to find out. So on Friday, they talked about Mandalorian and Grogu. However, they started, the movie, that will come out on May 2026, that will star not only Pedro Pascal as the titular character, and of course, little cute Grogu, for merchandise reasons, but they will also star Sigourney Weaver as a X-Wing pilot.
A goat. A goat in the acting. Yep. A good.
Okay.
Hooking name for a casting. Yeah.
Yep. And then they also talked about a very new Star Wars project. You may have heard that Sean Levy was going to direct one.
Well, we posted about that on.
Yep. It is going to be starred by Ryan Gosling, and it is called Star Wars Starfighter.
Okay.
I have a theory about this one. This one comes out in 2027 in May 28th.
Okay.
I think that this is what Patty Jenkins' movie was going to be.
You think so?
I think so. I think this is what it... I think they ended it with her because her movie was supposed to be Rogue Squadron, which, if you know anything about the ship teams in Star Wars, the call signs, Rogue Squadron was the name of Luke's X-Wing squadron. Right. It's basically what Red Squadron was. However, they went out on rogue missions. There was a whole video game, trilogy about it.
Yep.
And so, I do believe that Starfighter is basically what Rogue One was supposed to be. Or Rogue Squadron was supposed to be. Rogue Squadron. I think they redid it.
Okay, because there was also rumors that we posted too. Y'all make sure I follow some threads in Blue Sky if y'all don't. We posted that movie you're talking about, Starfighter, had Ryan Gosling and Sean, who's directing it, that they might have this girl from Succession. She might. I think it was rumors that she got offered a role in that movie too. Like she played the sister in Succession. I forget her name, but she's a really good actress in that show and any other thing she's been into. But like, yeah, it's rumors that she was offered a role in that movie, like a major role or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's true or not. It's a rumor. So, yeah.
We got to see a couple of the droids there, the little BD droids. If you ever played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, BD.
Oh, okay.
So there's going to be a couple of BD droids there. And so that was the major announcements on Friday.
Okay.
On Saturday, there were two major things they talked about. As you well know, Andor Season 2. And then they also talked about Ahsoka Season 2, which, as of speaking right now, they should have begun shooting.
Hey, okay.
So it is actually being shot right now.
Okay.
So within the Andor panel, of course, Diego Luna graced our presence, as well as the actress for Mon Mothma. I will remember her name. I think it's Kathy. But we got basically, the actors and actresses for Deidre, of course, and then also Sybil. That weird guy. And we also, of course, got Tony Gilroy, who is writing Andor Season 2, or wrote Andor Season 2 since it's shooting.
Yeah.
So within that panel, they simply talked about how each character is going to have their relationships explored, especially Deidre and Sybil's. We'll also get to see how, like you were talking about, Frosty, how Andor goes from now being a part of something to being an integral part of the Alliance. As you may know, this season is going to end right as Rogue One starts.
Yep. Which I like when shows do that. Like I like when even Rogue One, I liked when they did that too. Like at the end of the movie, you saw you saw Leia and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh crap, it's episode 4. I gotta love when shows do that.
My earliest version that I really liked that they did this. Now they decanonized this, but I don't know if you guys remember this 2003 Star Wars: The Clone Wars on Cartoon Network.
Oh yes.
That the very last episode ended exactly how Episode 3 began.
Oh yes.
The Chancellor being stolen.
Where?
Yep.
Yeah. No. Watch the episode.
Okay.
You can see at the very end that battle that begins at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. The very last episode sets that up perfectly.
Of the animated Clone Wars, and then
Clone Wars.
They did finish off Clone Wars, the 3D version, which was the more under the house of like Lucas and all that, like the canonized version that we're dealing with, did the same thing. Right.
Also, so of course we got to talk about Ahsoka Season 2. Some of the things that Star Wars CCO Dave Filoni talked about was that we're going to get two major things in the second season of Ahsoka. The first is, of course, what the heck is going on with Ahsoka and her new apprentice.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
The former Mandalorian, not Mandalorian.
Yes, and I'm going to remember her name because I forget her name sometimes because...
Man, see, I can't... No, we can't...
Nope, I'm going to get it.
She was on Rebels.
Sabine Wren.
Okay.
I just had to cycle it. So Sabine Wren, thank you, chat. That was probably screaming that while we were trying to remember it. But Sabine Wren, we were trying to figure out what they're doing on this new planet that's outside the normal Star Wars galaxy. Because remember, they were taken there by the Purrgil.
Yep.
But Thrawn's Star Destroyer was able to get away. And so now we're going to figure out what the heck they're doing on that planet, especially since some of the embodiments of the Force were shown there, if you remember the ending episode. And we're going to have the first battle between the New Republic Starfleet, led by Admiral Akbar, a.k.a. It's a Trap, and Thrawn's new Star Destroyer. He's going to try to... Yeah, basically heir to the Empire.
Hey,
we're gonna get a little bit of that.
This all sounds fire right now. I'm hyped for the future of Star Wars right now. So.
Oh, also Ezra Bridger is there too. So they have a Jedi. So we'll see what happens there. So that was kind of what they talked about there. Also, we celebrated the 20th anniversary of Lucasfilm Animation.
It's 20 years?
And Yes, it was the 20th anniversary of Lucasfilm Animation, in which they took us through the Clone Wars, that of course started on Cartoon Network, but then went to Disney Channel. But then they used that time to also debut 2 shows, one of which we didn't know. So if you guys remember, there's also been some short form storytelling. It's Tales of the Empire and Tales of the Jedi.
Right. Which I still gotta watch those too. I pass them all the time on Disney Plus. I'm like, I have to watch these, and I just never watched. I had to watch them.
They're really good.
They're really good.
The first 2, Tales of the Jedi. I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but please go watch them. The Tales of the Jedi tells the story of 2 people, Count Dooku and his fall. Count Dooku and his fall, and Ahsoka and her rise.
Oh.
Yep. Well, you hadn't seen them, Wavy, for real?
I haven't seen. Look, I have to watch. There's so much stuff I'd be having to watch, and I know I have to watch. I watched the first episode of Andor already. I have to watch the next 2, and then I'm definitely gonna watch Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire. Like I have to watch
Tales of the Empire talks about 2 people and basically their fall and rise. The first one being the Night Sister from Ahsoka. I have to remember her name. This one, actually, I probably won't remember her name. But it is the person that Ahsoka fights in the 5th episode of Mandalorian Season 2, when she goes to that planet.
Yeah, I know you're talking about, but I forgot the name too, yeah.
So it talks about her rise, but it's technically a fall. And then the second one is Barriss Offee, who is the apprentice of Luminara Unduli. And if you remember anything about Clone Wars, Anakin fought her because she is the reason, through the bombing of the temple, that Ahsoka left the Jedi Order. So we talk about her.
Okay.
So now they go from Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire to Tales of the Underworld.
Ooh.
And so now we're going to be talking about bounty hunters. So I believe they're going to be talking about Cad Bane.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And they're also going to be talking about, I don't think it's not Boba Fett. Oh no, it is. Oh, come on. I got it. I'll have to look it up. But Cad Bane is definitely one of them.
Okay.
And the other one I want to say is. Hold up, let me look that up, because while chat is screaming it at me, screaming at me, I will simply look it up, because I can do that. I'm allowed to forget things. Not in front of Darth Vader.
Absolutely.
Asajj Ventress, there it is. I could see her. I could see it because, as any Star Wars fan would know, Asajj Ventress died in a book. So how can she come back? You'll have to watch and find out.
Okay, I'm definitely hyped.
And then now we also got a new show that nobody knew about, Maul Shadowlord.
Like Darth Maul.
Well, he's not a Darth anymore. Remember, only
that's right,
there can be.
Well, yeah, but by name he was, but Maul, yeah.
Okay,
So
that is very
time. This will be about his time, basically rising up in the crime syndicate. Because if you remember, at the end of Solo, he was running Crimson Dawn, whom Han Solo's then girlfriend. Man, I'm failing on these names, but Amelia. Yeah, I was gonna say Amelia Clark.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying Daenerys.
She played somebody who was loyal to Crimson Dawn while working underneath
So that's interesting to also fit Maul's story in between, because we know how he meets his end.
Yes,
at the end
we
of
do.
Rebels. So again, telling another story, another chapter of someone's life that we know how it ends, but we don't know the contents. So that's an interesting take on it, on telling.
I have seen that Disney is very, very keen to stay within the rise or the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire. They really like that time because they're filling all that in. It's almost like that's the most interesting part of it. But I mean, hey, that's just kind of what they want to do. So,
I know you were saying like a joking matter, but it pretty much it is like the most interesting time of like everything that's going on in Star Wars.
So it was a long stretch. I think it was.
Oh, it was only
almost 15, 20 years.
20 years from the end of Revenge of the Sith to the end of Return of the Jedi.
No, well, I mean to the beginning of New Hope, but yeah, technically that because they're filling in those gaps too.
Yes, you were right.
Right.
Sorry, it's 20. I want to say it's 24 years from the end of Revenge of the Sith to the end of Return of the Jedi. Yeah, I think it's 24 years.
The context when it hits you.
24, 25.
That when it hits you that Darth Vader was 19, 20, 21
He was
years
22.
old. 22.
He was 22.
And so by the end of all this, he's in his 40s.
Pretty much.
You know, he wasn't some old dude like you know what I'm saying? Like, no, he wasn't an old guy. So, you know, but so he, you know, and also touching on his like the wisdom that you gain between your 20s and your 40s as a man is like, it's not like some of the decisions that he made foolish makes sense though. a little bit.
And to kind of round it out, we got a Star Wars video game announcement in Star Wars Zero.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, would they do anything about video games? I was going to ask you that too.
They did. They did a Star Wars XCOM basically. So Zero Company.
Okay, no, I did hear about that. You know who said that? I think shout out to 8-Bit who was on here before. On one of his videos, he did say something about like they were going to do a Star Wars like kind of tactical kind of thing. So you can say nothing more about that. Like whatever, my fault.
No, that's basically the announcement that it is going to be made, and yeah, they're bringing it. So the very last big panel that they said, of course, was Star Wars Visions. I touched on that a little bit. So what's cool about this is you were talking about Wavy, how you said you liked the first one. The first season better than the second season.
I did.
Well, the difference between the first and the second season, of course, is that the first season was all Japanese anime studios.
That makes a lot of sense because that second one was like it was good, but it wasn't the first one.
It was studios all around the world. Now, I actually kind of like that. Personally, my very favorite ones from the second season was The Spy Dancer and also I Am Your Mother from Aardman Studios. Shout out to Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run. So
they were both good. I like those a lot. Like the stories was good, but like that first season was all Japanese animation, which I like the fact that they went through the whole like they spread out to the whole world basically in the second season, but it was like it wasn't that much action hit. it didn't hit that action didn't hit as much as this first season. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was like, this is good, but it's not what it should be.
That was the second season featured the one of the African father and daughter.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I believe so. The African father and daughter, yes. The one where they were trapped in a well or trapped in a hole, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I like that one.
So you will be pleased then, Wavy, to note that season 3 or volume 3 is going back to only Japan. So these will only be Japanese studios.
Okay.
Also, what's really cool about this?
Wavy didn't like it. Bring it. I'm just playing.
We will redouble our efforts. So now we've got a couple of new ones, including Studio Trigger is coming back to do another one.
Nice. Okay.
They're doing one about bounty hunters this time.
Ooh, that should be nice. Okay.
But what's really cool is that a couple of the episodes from the first volume are getting episode 2s. They're getting continuations.
I was just took that right out the tip of my tongue. Yes.
So they're gonna get continuations. So guess which ones? If you can remember any of them.
The brother and the sister.
The brother and the sister are not getting a second one.
No.
It's just the same studio. They're not getting a second one.
Okay, what about
but
the Ninth
I tell you
Jedi,
who is.
The Ninth Circle.
The Ninth Jedi is getting a second episode. Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
Ninth Jedi. Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to see what else.
The Ronin, if you remember the black and white one.
Right, that's getting a second one?
He's getting a second one.
Okay,
and
cool.
The Village Bride, which was the Jedi that had the mask, the girl that had the mask, and the village, person was about to be married off. That's getting a second episode. Other than that, all of them are all new.
Okay, all right.
And actually, Frosty, you might like this. So, Lucasfilm actually heard that some people were like, man, we really want more of those stories. We want to make those actually a show, a season. Well, they're doing it. They are doing it. And guess which show they're starting with?
Lopping.
You can say it. You could no, you could say it. You said it before.
Dang, the brother and sister.
No. The 9th Jedi.
So that
getting her own show?
Another episode.
That's getting a whole season.
Volume 3, and then it's getting an additional season behind it.
Yep.
Wow.
That's tough. Okay.
9th Jedi is going to get an additional whole season. It's called
Nice.
Star Wars
Okay.
Vision Presents. And they are going to allow that studio to fully realize that whole vision. Because if you remember, the whole premise of that short was that the daughter's father was stolen. Remember, he was a lightsaber maker.
Right.
And the cool part of it, of course, was that the Jedi or the lightsaber would change color based on what affiliation you were. So, remember, the father got stolen. We don't know where he went. Now we get to see what happened.
Now, something I always noticed, something I noticed about the Vision series, and I didn't want to think it was just. Let me put it like this. I saw the respect of seeing different visions tie in here of Star Wars, but it felt very much like a pitch contest of which series get enough fan love for a studio backing. It felt like a contest, felt like love, but it also felt like if people just so happened to give us enough feedback about whichever ones. Which ones did you like? Which one did you like? Okay. Well, all right.
That's interesting
This one got
you say
enough
that.
tally. Let's see what we can do putting a whole story behind it.
It's interesting you say that, because that's actually not how I saw it. I saw it as everybody wants to be able to write their own Star Wars fan fiction.
Yes.
Most people, that's one of the worlds that you're like, oh, I'd love to be a Jedi or a starfighter pilot or a senator member, I guess, but like a bounty hunter. But yeah, like these studios were given the permission by Lucasfilm to just make a story, and they, of course, to make a story you've got to have some backdrop, and I think they just wanted to go through it and just actually have that right to make their own Star Wars story. I think fan outcry was the reason that they were like, oh, this actually could become a thing, which is why I liked it, because to me, I understand that people want to make a whole bunch of Star Wars, but I've always said that Star Wars is not a mythos, it's an epic. So there is a canon, there is a lore, there is on 22 ABY, that's after the Battle of Yavin, something happened. And on 44 BBY, that's before Battle of Yavin, something happened. So it's not gelatinous like the JLU or the MCU, where like, oh, you have maybe 20 different versions of Captain America, or you have 50 different versions of Batman. You have a Batman movie right now where he goes back and his villains make a Yakuza league. So like, that's not, you can't do that in Star Wars.
Yeah.
But through these non-canon stories, you can have Star Wars-esque stories told, and the freedom that these studios get is that they're not tethered to a timeline. You can truly do anything, and I think that's the beauty of it. Tell a Star Wars-esque story that doesn't have to be tied to the canon. Now, I'll say some of my takeaways, and then any questions that you guys have, you can ask. But one of the things that I really actually thought was interesting, Dave Filoni, every single time he talked, it seemed he waxed nostalgic every time that he remembered not being an executive, but just working with George Lucas. It seemed to actually make him really somber that he can't just go back to the time where he doesn't have to worry about budgets and casting and keeping, industry secrets. He just got to basically play with George's toys in George's world. And that was when he was working on like Clone Wars and Rebels. It just seemed like that's really what he loved to do. but there was definitely a few times where he seemed like he really missed that.
I can understand that.
Of course, the animated era and stuff like that. A lot of people really like the animated era and everything, like, especially Rebels. I mean, especially Clone Wars. Like, I know for me personally, I still want them. Have they introduced Kanan yet? They haven't introduced Kanan yet, have they?
In what?
In not in the Rebels, but like he's in Rebels. But I mean, like anywhere in the Star Wars like universe, like in this live action that they've done yet. They haven't introduced him yet.
He's in comics and he's in Bad Batch for like a episode.
Yeah, he's in. I know. I read his comics back in 2016. I think he had like an 8-line comic. I think maybe 10-line comic. And I think I just thought, yeah, I thought they would like put him in like the live action, like what they're doing now and stuff like that.
Probably need to find the actor.
Maybe.
And
sure.
One of the other things that I thought this was interesting too. Dave Filoni seems to be very protective of character integrity. He told of a story where in Rebels, actually, he said an executive, if you remember in season 2, that's when Darth Vader came into the picture. He said an executive approached him to do that. And he said, all right, we can put Darth Vader in there, but the tone of the show is going to change. It's not going to be happy-go-lucky anymore because Vader can't just be a bumbling idiot. He is evil. This is Anakin Skywalker, but completely denounced from his light side. Like, this is a very evil man.
Yeah.
And if Vader comes on the scene, people are going to die. And the executive said, all right, cool. And that's why Vader was added.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that's... Stories like that make me think, like, he is very
Hmm.
protective of character integrity. Ahsoka would do this. Ahsoka wouldn't do that. You know, Thrawn would do this. Thrawn wouldn't do that.
Right. I respect that.
However, I think that comes at an expense of timeline integrity and lore, which is kind of one of my hot takes, but there you go. Other than that, that was basically the summary of what I learned there. I got plenty of pictures as an Imperial officer. One of the most fun costumes I saw there, of course, was the jeans guy peeking out from the corner. So in Mandalorian, the very last episode, when Mando storms, I think it's season 2, when he storms that Star Destroyer, the Interdictor.
Right.
There's a brief shot, and they edited it out, but there's a brief shot where somebody could be seen around the corner, and it's a dude in blue jeans. It's like one of the crew, and he's just like around the corner, and he has blue jeans. Somebody went to Celebration dressed as that.
That's tough. That's cool.
There were also plenty of samurai Darth Vaders, stormtroopers, Mauls. I think another fun costume that I saw was a Winnie the Pooh stormtrooper.
I actually do want to see that for some reason. I actually want to see a Winnie the Pooh
stormtrooper. Disney princess Jedis out there.
That's
a lot
nice.
of people make Star Wars costumes their own. Plenty of Wookiees. There were Captain Tarful and Wookiee. And Chewbacca. They were there. No, there were a bunch of them. Got a couple Ewoks that were there.
Nice.
There were a bunch.
Were there any cows? Any cows? Any Star Killers?
There was a Cal Kestis. I remember seeing at least one Cal Kestis. A couple of Oshas.
Okay.
From Acolyte. There were a couple of Premiers.
Nice. Hey,
I'm trying to think.
once when I like that, but I like that show. So
there was a Soul there too. So no, there were a bunch.
Was there any Star Killers?
I actually do not remember seeing Star Killer himself. Sam Witwer was there.
He was?
And he. I don't know. It might not have been there, but I know he's gone on record, whether it was the last few years or yesterday. He's gone on record to say if they ever approached him for Force Unleashed 3, he'd be down. He'd shave his head and be down.
Oh,
he was there, and I mean he looks exactly like Star Killer because they modeled it after him.
He's the face model. He's the face model.
Yeah. So he was there, but yeah, I got to see, of course, Pedro Pascal, Dave Filoni. Got to see Alan Tudyk, who plays K2SO.
Oh.
Diego Luna, Rosario Dawson, Hayden Christensen.
Oh, she was here too? Nice.
Yeah, Rosario was there.
I'd hope so to promote Ahsoka, yeah.
That's makes sense.
So yeah, just a lot, just a really fun time. And what I really like about Star Wars Celebration is, of course, online you get to hear a lot of the negativity around the shows, a lot of the opinionated stuff, the woke media and whatnot.
Sure, yeah.
But when you go to Star Wars Celebration, there's none of that.
None of that at all,
yep. Yeah, everybody's just there to have a great time, celebrate all things Star Wars. Everybody's hype, everybody's chill. The kids are super into it because the parents are super into it. It's just a fun time. People appreciate everybody's costumes. I had trouble building a Lego Y-Wing and an A-Wing, probably because I wanted to build a Star Destroyer, but I didn't get given that option. Also went to go meet the 501st. Super nice organization. Bad guys doing good. Shout out to them in the Makazi squadron here in Florida, the Florida Garrison. Yeah, they were stand-up guys. It was really, really cool. Also, the droid builders, shout out to them. One of them made me jump. I think it was an R5 droid. It didn't look like it moved, and then it did, and I was like,
Wait a minute.
But no, other than that, it's just, if you ever get a chance to go to Star Wars Celebration, it's honestly one of the most wholesome celebrations to go to. I really enjoy it. Everybody's just chill. Everybody's hype. You can talk days about Star Wars with them.
Which I like to do it anyway. So
the next Star Wars Celebration will be in Los Angeles, 2027, for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars.
Oh, so they're not an annual thing. They were like every 2 or 3 years thing, right?
They sometimes skip some years. The only reason London was a weird one Anaheim was a weird one because there was supposed to be a 2020, but then COVID, of course.
Yeah, COVID.
So they skipped it by 2 years, and so they had a 2022.
Okay. So definitely plenty of time to save it for the next one will be the 50th anniversary. So
the 50th one's about to be crazy. I already know it's about to be crazy. It's 50 years, like
50 years, man. 50
Oh,
years.
shout out to Revenge of the Sith right now, 20th anniversary. It's in theaters. Go see it again.
Yeah, I might have to. Like, I've never seen that in the theaters when I was like 15. I was like, oh.
I also remember seeing it in the theaters. It's one of my fondest movie stories. I had to go to the bathroom 5 minutes in. I didn't. I did not get up.
Held it those.
I was ready to explode after about 2 hours of holding it.
My man was doing the dance.
I was locked in.
Oh man, sacrifice.
Hey, a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. That was the other thing. Just within my group that goes, we played a little contest to see who could bring up the most appropriate obscure quote from Star Wars. We just do that all the time. So there were another happy landing. We got a couple of those. We got a couple of hello there's in there.
Hello there.
A couple of it's an older code, sir, but it checks out.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Yep. I think that came up a couple of times, especially when we were waiting in line.
That's
Don't
funny.
tell me the odds. There's another one.
Yeah, never tell me the odds. Yeah.
Never tell me the odds. Yeah.
Shut them up or shut them down. Yeah.
Your new empire.
Yeah. Yes.
And then, I mean, the top. I am your father.
Yes. You got to put that one in there. I know a lot of those one-liners come from like Obi-Wan, like at least for me. Like that episode 3, he had a whole lot of one-liners that were just gold, like, especially in that final scene with him and Anakin. He had a whole lot of quotables.
Yeah, don't try it. Don't try it. You know.
You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
I hate you. Whoa. Whoa.
My allegiance is to
my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy.
If you are not with me, you are my enemy.
Only
Sith
deal in absolutes.
Yeah, only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Do what I must.
I saw a cup that literally was just the first letter of each line, and it goes to that entire thing. Yeah,
That's tough.
Dedicated.
So Star Wars Celebration. So yeah.
I like the lineup. I like what's coming. I don't have any questions per se because you pretty much answered it. I think with Star Wars, it's been not a hit or miss. I think continuing this legacy, I think, has been a very big deal, very big task. Shout out to Lucasfilm, changing or evolving with the times, merging with Disney, continuing their own productions in addition to lending to the Disney franchise, different branches that we created, Lucas Games, things like that, with the video games we've had over time, leading up to now. Yeah, longtime fan, and I would look forward to the series growth. I never want to see it downfall. I want to see more stories. But legacy in itself, and I'll always respect that. It was just something that my dad introduced me to, and I'll always appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I know they were supposed to be working on, like, I think 1313 got canceled because they sold to Disney, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I thought when they were about to show Marvel Shadow Lord, I almost popped off because I was
You thought it was gonna be 1313?
13. I thought we were getting 13 series. I was like, what? But no.
Yeah, because that was supposed to be like a game about a bounty hunter, right?
It was Boba Fett, I believe.
Oh, Boba Fett? Okay. Yeah, I know everybody was hyped for that game, but when it got canceled, of course, everyone got, mad. Especially at Lucasfilm. Everyone got mad, But then we got,
We got,
Fallen Order?
I mean, we got Bounty Hunter, yeah. Battlefront, too.
Outlaws.
Outlaws, yeah.
God. But one thing I would wish they would have announced, maybe it will be, and I'll hold out hope, a remaster of Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire.
That'd be interesting. That would be an interesting one.
And the Outrider, I think, is second favorite ship to me, only to the Millennium Falcon. The Outrider is slept on. And
I think a new pod racer would actually be pretty cool.
That would be nice.
Oh, like on SD4?
I love Star Wars Pod Racer. That game
that was a great game.
That was a fun game.
I played the demo of that a couple times. I remember playing that.
I only played Anakin.
Yeah, I pretty much.
I only played Anakin.
I mean, that was the only one that seemed to make engine sense when you showed the statistics. Why would I pick this one as the balanced one of the many? So
even Sebulba, he always wins. No, who was the only one that actually had kind of a weapon on his?
Right.
Yeah, but no, I just that game was fun, and of course I'm a huge fan of the Rogue Squadron games and whatnot. So played a little bit of Battlefront 2 in my time, old one and new one.
Yeah, the old one is just probably heralded as one of the best games Star Wars probably put out, and then the new one was just you played it for a couple months, put that bitch down, put that shit down, and then the whole thing came out about the microtransactions. Actually, loot box was going crazy.
I remember
that had a big controversy. Yep,
it did.
Had a big controversy.
Darth Vader. Oh man.
Was it had to be 80 hours or something like that? No, not 80. It was 80,000. It was something crazy you had to do to just to get Darth Vader, and it was okay. So was it 8,000, 80,000? It was some kind of crazy hours you had to put in the game just to get Darth Vader. I do remember that, and it was tight about that, and then that caused the whole loot box kind of thing to fizzle out after a while, which is good.
One of its many downfalls of everybody really looking at what loot boxes are. To this day, they've changed a little bit, but
so I got a question for you, gentlemen. If we're kind of closing out here, any Star Wars hot takes?
I got one that people I don't know if y'all ain't gonna agree with this or not, but to me, out of all the movies that they had, I think Star Wars Episode 2 is by far the most important one in the franchise.
Most important?
I think it's the most important. It bridges a whole lot of gaps to me. To me, it bridges a whole lot of gaps.
Episode 2 as in...
Episode Attack of the Clones. He would say... People like to shit on that movie a lot. And sorry for my language. They have to rank on the movie a whole lot. But I think it's not my favorite. And I understand why people don't like it. But I think it bridges a whole lot of gaps in the series that people don't know it actually does and everything in there. first of all, you get to see Anakin, like, he's from a boy to a teenager now, almost a man. He's transitioning to that dark side. You start to see, like, the whole clone activity of, like, you see, like, the making of the clones and, like, the other planet and everything. You're starting to see everything that's going on in, like, the inner doings of the senator and stuff like that. You just seeing so much stuff that, like, you heard about in the old movies and in the cartoons, but, like, episode 2 kind of bridged that gap for you. And I think people don't like it because of the act. I don't know why people don't like it, but that's my hot take.
It was early Hayden Christensen.
It was his first outing.
Yeah,
it was
Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it was a lot of. It was almost like it was kind of rough seeing him grow up through that. In addition to,
but it was it's just connected. And that's the thing about
it connected 1 and 3. You are absolutely right.
It connected 1 and 3. It connected all the stuff you saw from like 4, 5, and 6. It was like, oh, the Clone Wars. They mentioned episode 4. That's this movie. Or like it's like all that kind of stuff. Like that's what I like most about episode 2. To me, it's definitely not the best movie, but to me, it bridged a whole lot of gaps, and I think it's probably one of the most important Star Wars films. That's me. That's my hot take.
One of the first films you saw the Jedi Order in full effect on a field.
Yeah.
Multiples. Squabble up, they said.
Basically.
You know what I'm saying? The first time the Jedi Order said squabble up.
Mm-hmm.
We all in there. You know what I'm saying?
Prizes to be bartered, Dooku.
Right. You know, and
hostages to be bartered.
And one of the first sightings of Mace Windu on the field, of course, he was introduced. Mm-hmm. We see him in action, takes out Boba Fett's father. You know, like they were not playing it yet. I think that's one of the first on-screen visuals that we see of Yoda in action.
I think so. I think it might have been actually because I think so because
really
I remember.
Action, yes.
Right, really in action.
I remember the trailers. I remember the trailers for that actual movie when I was younger. Like it would say 873 years old, something like that, and then you just see him like pulling the lightsaber out like with the Force and just going crazy. Like it didn't show it, but they like insinuate that he's about to go crazy in this movie. I'm like, all right, I gotta see this.
First time I ever see him fight.
Yeah, but episode 3 is my favorite, but I think 2 is the most important, like one of the most important, other than like probably Rogue One. That's me personally, but that's like I said, it's hot take. So you know.
What about you, Frosty? What's your hot take?
I don't know if it's a hot take, but you know, and I've been vocal about it. I wasn't a fan of the pacing of the series that came out before our recent conversation. What was it? The one we mentioned it too.
Acolyte. Oh. I like that show, man.
It had potential. Like, look, it could have done better. I'll put it to you like that. I was still not a fan of the pace the way it went. Unfortunately, I didn't. You know, that's my take. I don't go in a little more into like there were things I liked about it, things I didn't.
Yeah, I think a lot of people didn't like that show, but I liked it.
I mean, I would say I'm actually kind of with you. I didn't really care for it and what they did with it, but I can appreciate the idea behind it, but I don't think it was executed well.
Cool. I agree with that.
I'd say my hot take is, and chat, you might murder me for this, but like,
Phuca-Pod stands behind
you. I think Ahsoka should have died before.
Phuca-Pod no longer stands behind you.
I think Ahsoka should have died within the Clone Wars, or not the Clone Wars. Some time after Order 66. I don't think she should have survived.
Oh, why do you think that?
Phuca-Pod now disowned you.
Jedi. Honestly,
I'm sure Corner Fox will co-sign me with that.
Oh yeah, he probably will. But like, my reasoning for this is this: while Anakin did train her to survive pretty much anything, including again, watch Tales of the Jedi, you'll see what I mean.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
While Anakin did train Ahsoka to survive more than a standard Jedi, there is a slight amount of, I think, favoritism and, oh, this is my creation, Dave Filoni. This is my creation, so my OC is going to live throughout all eras of the Jedi. or without the Jedi. And honestly, there really is no good, to me, there's no good reason for her not to have intervened with the rebellion, especially as she was known as Fulcrum within Rebels, and Ezra rescued her. Like, she should have been working with the Rebels. And of course, we know why she wasn't. Because she wasn't a thing.
That's my main joke, right? She wasn't a thing. When people say, "Why wasn't she there?" She wasn't a thing.
Yeah, she wasn't a thing. So to me, the more characters, the more Jedi who survive, the more characters like that survive, you have to somehow explain away why weren't they there. Because within their, again, character integrity, Dave Filoni himself, they would be there. You saw that Ahsoka was there for the Rebels throughout Rebels. She was Fulcrum.
Right.
However, she in her confrontation of Darth Vader, she then died. However, World Between Worlds, right? Dave Filoni himself, in a panel at Star Wars Celebration, said, "I created a whole dimension to basically rescue Ahsoka, to rescue my OC." When you gotta bend over backwards in your story to do something like that, to me, that just kind of screams, yeah, you wanted her to just live. Realistically, I don't think she would have just lived.
No,
I think somebody would have got her.
I saw that fight, and the way that it ended, so obscure. Walking through this doorway, Vader. We know why Vader had to live, but Ahsoka was walking through this doorway in this mountain. It made no sense. And I mean, shout out to her, we get this amazing content now, but
yeah, what's done is done. But
at what cost? What, like you said, what universe did you bend? What fourth wall did you break to make this happen? And can it be
I know
overlooked?
Ahsoka's one of people's like favorite new characters, and that's why I say it's a hot take. But I do think Ahsoka should have died before.
I can agree with that.
At least episode 5. At least episode 5. But yeah, she lives. So that's just my Star Wars hot take. Again, crucify me or vilify me if you will, but that's my.
Phuca-Pod can stand behind you again.
I've got others, but listeners, what do you think? You got any Star Wars hot takes? We'll see if Frosty or Wavy or I stand behind you. We'll see. Like post your hottest Star Wars take, and I mean like in universe. I'm not talking about Dave Filoni shouldn't be running. Like Kathleen Kennedy shouldn't be.
Right.
No, I want to hear your in universe.
Like universe, not like people who are like
We'll tie this into probably like Wavy. We'll probably tie this into like a thread or a Blue Sky or a Twitter.
I'll definitely ask that question
to comment, right? So but be sure to follow us on those platforms if you're hearing this podcast. Phuca-Pod on all social platforms. That's it. That's all we got for you guys. It's a wrap. Be sure to check us out anywhere on the internet. Be sure to search Phuca-Pod, Phucaname, and check out all of our available content on all platforms. I've been your host, Frosty Phoenix. Follow me across the web at Frosty Phoenix, FROSTYPHENIX, or Frosty Voiceover for voiceovers. I've done a few Darth Vader voiceovers online.
I did see that.
In time for May 4th. And squad, close out with your socials.
Yo, what's goody, y'all. Thank y'all again for listening to another episode of Phuca-Pod. Shout out to all y'all Star Wars fans out there. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like Farsi and like Noob said, post your hottest takes, and we'll see if he agree with you or if we need to, something may be wrong with you. I don't know, but yeah, it's your boy Wavy God. That's the voice you're hearing right now. The Sneaker Lover, Anime Watcher, Video Game Player, and the Star Wars Lover as well. You know what I'm saying? But
I will co-sign that for myself as well.
You know what I'm saying? Star Wars over Star Trek all the time. So
I won't co-sign that. That's a clear shot at someone that's not here.
I'll co-sign that every day. Every day I'll co-sign that. But yeah. Of course, you already know where it is. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. And like and share and comment on the video when it's out on YouTube as well. So next squad mate, you're up, man.
Alrighty, well, this is the one true noob, and Lord Vader. I'm sorry, I just.
I guess he called him.
Yeah, we lost one true noob. The dark side is a powerful.
The dark side got him.
We'll see. Hopefully, he survived his encounter with Darth Vader. But
Hopefully.
In the meantime, we'll see you guys on the next episode of Phuca-Pod. Squad.
Uh-oh. I think that somebody got him.